Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 121. Without any delay, start explanation. When Junhua returned to his personal dining hall, his expression was already back to normal. Tang Wulin stood up straight from his seat at the sound of the door opening. "Uncle Master," he said. Junhua waved for him to sit back down. "Are you done eating?" "Yes, I ate." "All right. That's good," Junhua said. "I just called your master to tell him you came over. He told me to take good care of you. I've also arranged an opponent for you. They'll be waiting for you in the Blacksmiths Association's sealed space. I'll record the match so you can use it as proof." "Thank you, Uncle Master," Tang Wulin said. After eating the moonlight rice and dragon tendon, he felt his body swell with warmth. His blood essence bubbled within him, and his mind was sharp as a blade. He was in peak condition. "No need to thank me. You're my junior, so this is only natural. So you're a student at Shrek Academy with 3 soul rings, right? Do you have any plans for the future?" Junhua asked. Without skipping a beat, Tang Wulin replied, "I want to become a battle armor master." Junhua cracked a smile. "How ambitious. You know, I forged most of the metals used to make the battle armors at Shrek Academy. Next time I visit, how about I find you and give you some pointers?" "Yes, please. That would be awesome." Tang Wulin could hardly contain himself with excitement. Not when a divine blacksmith had agreed to afford him guidance. "It's settled then. Give me your number and I'll call you next time I'm in town." Junhua was a man of determination who reached the peak in his field. There had been more to his call with Mu Chen than just as an avenue to vent his frustration. In fact, underneath the many layers of subtext and his own personal brand of care, he was also telling Mu Chen that there was no use in hiding Tang Wulin anymore. Mu Chen may be able to teach Tang Wulin soul refining, but teaching him how to heavenly refine was a different story. That was where Junhua came in. When that time came, things would be much easier for Tang Wulin under a divine blacksmith's watchful eye. Therefore, Junhua's current plan was to develop a good relationship with Tang Wulin, whom he had taken quite the liking to. Tang Wulin might be greedy, but greed was good motivation for a blacksmith. As long as Tang Wulin put in the work as a blacksmith, he would drown in money later on. At that moment, the kitchen door swung open, the chef carrying a platter as he passed through the doorway. Before the chef arrived at the dining table, Tang Wulin could already smell the tantalizing aroma wafting over from the platter. His eyes widened, mouth instantly watering. It was as if a wave of deliciousness had assaulted his nose. The strong aroma roused his blood essence far more than the previous dishes. "What dish is it?" The platter was 1/2 meter in diameter. 6 humongous shrimps lay plump on its surface, and the heads were similarly gigantic. The shells were already peeled, revealing their glossy flesh, a bold shade of crimson. There were no seasonings or sauces to enhance their scent. The alluring aroma had come from these shrimp. "What's the special occasion? Why did you bring out the ruby shrimp? You'd normally never do that," Junhua exclaimed. The chef snorted. "Your mind is always elsewhere, so how could you appreciate a true culinary delicacy? This kid has got quite a stomach, and he loves my food from the bottom of his heart. I'm cooking this for him. You're lucky to have met him." Tang Wulin was surprised by how the chef treated Junhua. Despite there not being a single shred of soul power radiating from the chef's body, they gave off the image of being equals. Junhua chuckled. "Count me a lucky man then. My little nephew disciple is so amazing. But aren't you suffering a loss here too? In a sense, isn't he one of your people?" The chef smiled, mischief dancing in his eyes. "Did you think I couldn't tell? Kid, eat up. These are ruby shrimp, also known as blood shrimp. They are one of the bizarre creatures living 3 kilometers below the blood trench. Their blood essence is similar to that of humans. I think you should be able to handle eating 3 of them." Which meant that the other 3 were clearly meant for Junhua. "Thank you." Tang Wulin rose from his seat and bent into a slight bow to the chef. Never had he come across the name ruby shrimp before, but he was certain that it was an absolute delicacy. The last fibers of his self-restraint snapped. He grabbed a shrimp by its tail and popped it into his mouth. The meat was sweet and tender, a hint of fruitiness dancing at the edges. When he pressed his teeth together for a chew, warm, flavorful juices gushed out of the shrimp and trickled down his throat. His body submerged into a pool of comfort. He could hear a buzz permeating his mind as his skin blushed red. A burst of warmth spread through him and the golden vein pattern of the golden dragon king surfaced all over his body. His blood essence surged. Without any conscious control, it flowed in reverse, following the path set by Golden Dragon shocks the heavens. At the sight of Tang Wulin's golden skin and raging blood essence, Zhenhua and the chef froze, stupefied. When a golden soul ring made its debut, the chef's jaw finally dropped. His eyes were glued to Tang Wulin. Sucking in a deep breath, Tang Wulin looked within himself to inspect his body. He was astonished to find his blood essence attacking the fourth seal on the Golden Dragon King. Wave after wave of blood essence crashed against the seal, wearing it down bit by bit, and the seal flashed brilliantly each time. Concerned at the scene, Zhenhua shot the chef a doubtful look. Is he digesting it immediately? Doesn't it usually take a whole year to digest ruby shrimp? The chef shrugged. I don't know. You're the one who brought this little monster here. Zhenhua smiled. Yeah. He really is a little monster. He's from Shrek Academy. Once the chef heard that fact, a light flashed in his eyes, his cheeks beginning to twitch. If I knew earlier, I wouldn't have fed him the shrimp. But his body really is interesting. You weren't wrong to say he's one of my people. For over 10 minutes Tang Wulin's blood essence continued to bubble within him before gradually settling down. In the end, the seal still held, but the feverish blood essence flaring within him was undeniable. It was as if his entire body had been refined and he felt utterly comfortable. His soul power surged, 2 months' worth of cultivation added on after just a few moments of eating. Thank you, Senior, Tang Wulin said to the chef respectfully. There were only 2 shrimp left. The other 3 had already been eaten by Zhenhua. The chef shook his head. This is an opportunity for you. If you want to take me as your master and eat food like this every day, then leave Shrek Academy. It's your decision. Tang Wulin was taken aback. The chef's food left a deep impression on him. If he could eat food of such quality every day, then his cultivation would progress by leaps and bounds. He wouldn't have to worry about his blood essence for the first 9 seals either. That said, he was also a person of integrity. Senior, thank you for your offer, but I'm a student of Shrek Academy. I can't leave just yet. If you're still willing to take me in after I graduate, then when that time comes. The chef waved in dismissal. He stood up in one brisk motion and returned to the kitchen. Witnessing such a strange scene, Tang Wulin turned to Zhenhua for guidance. Uncle Master, is that Chef Uncle angry? Chef? He. He's not angry. He just knows he has no hope. People from Shrek aren't fools. Would they really let a talent like you graduate from the outer court? You're definitely bound for the inner court. He knows he doesn't stand a chance, so there was no point in staying. Here. These last 2 shrimp are yours. Kid, I've got to say, your stomach is amazing. Tang Wulin quickly took the remaining 2 shrimp and threw them into his mouth. His blood essence surged once more and assaulted the 4th seal. However, his body's ability to handle blood essence had improved, so the attack on the seal wasn't as powerful as the first time. Even so, Tang Wulin could feel the 4th seal growing slack. But he had no plans of breaking the 4th seal right then. Despite having enough soul power to do so, he also had to take into account the amount of the Golden Dragon King's power he could absorb after the seal was broken. His body wasn't ready yet. Plus, there was still time to find the spirit items old Tang had informed him. Zhenhua waited until Tang Wulin finished digesting the remaining shrimp before standing up from his seat and walking to the door. Let's go then. I'll bring you to battle your opponent. Afterward you can be on your way to finish your exam. There was still one thing of interest, though. Uncle Master, who was that chef uncle? Tang Wulin asked. He's just an eccentric guy. I'm his only friend. Well, in any case, I'm not sure if you'll ever meet him again. But I'll tell you this. Zhenhua motioned for Tang Wulin to lean closer, covering part of his mouth with a cupped hand. He doesn't have a good relationship with Shrek Academy, and he doesn't like dealing with them. Zhenhua's ambiguous words left Tang Wulin puzzled, but he didn't think much about it. Right now, he had to focus on finishing his exam. A spatial door opened before them. The door reminded him of the one to the Spirit Soul Tower at the Spirit Pagoda. He hadn't expected the Blacksmiths Association would also have such a space. Are you familiar with this? Zhenhua noticed the glint in Tang Wulin's eyes. Tang Wulin nodded. Yeah. The Spirit Pagoda headquarters has a door just like this. Yes, they are similar. Similar, but different. Apart from Shrek Academy, no other society can compare with the Spirit Pagoda's resources. However, our Blacksmiths Association also has a few tricks up its sleeve, and this sealed space is used for storing important treasures and classified materials. You could call it our warehouse. Only high-level members of the association can enter it. Once you become a Saint Blacksmith, you'll gain access to it too. The key is a Saint Blacksmith's badge. Saint Blacksmiths were 7th-rank blacksmiths. Tang Wulin yearned for the day he could finally step on that plane of existence. Uncle Master, is it hard to soul refine? Tang Wulin asked. Zhenhua smiled and shook his head. It's both hard and not hard at the same time. You have a strong foundation and good wits. But you're lacking in soul power. I can help you with that, though. I have many treasures that can boost your cultivation. Would you like to go that route? Tang Wulin stared at him in astonishment. Uncle Master, what do you mean? Zhenhua chuckled. I can see it in your eyes that you already understand. Don't you feel embarrassed keeping up an act? Tang Wulin scratched his head, showing a meek smile. Of course he would want to get his hands on some treasures. If you use treasures to boost your cultivation, I guarantee you'll become a titled Dolor and divine blacksmith within 15 years. However, I must warn you, your foundation won't be firm and you'll likely never advance into a hyper-Dolor. Still, that should be enough for you in my opinion. Battle armor will improve your strength anyway. As long as you get a set of full-word battle armor and become a titled Dolor, you'll stand at the very peak of the world, Zhenhua said. Uncle Master, I've always been curious about that. If battle armor can make a titled Dolor as powerful as a limit Dolor, why do they still continue to cultivate to become hyper-Doluos? Zhenhua sighed. They're not quite the same. You'll understand once you reach that level. Even if you compare 2 limit Duluos, or 2 titled Duluos with the same amount of soul power, the combat strength of the one who boosted their advancement through the use of treasures and the one who advanced normally would differ. And more importantly, only by relying on their own strength can they hope to ascend to godhood. No one has ascended in the last 10,000 years. But who doesn't wish to ascend like the founder of the Tang sect, Tang San? Or the Spirit Pagoda founder, Spirit Ice Dolor Yu Hao? Think about this carefully. If you choose to accept my offer, then I'll nurture you into a divine blacksmith by the time you're 30. You'll be the youngest divine blacksmith in all of history and stand at the World Summit. However, you'll also be turning your back on the path of battle, foregoing the mysteries of the world. A moment of silence slipped by. Uncle Master, Tang Wulin eventually said. Can you give me some time to consider it? Zhenhua's offer was enticing. Tang Wulin's cultivation wasn't advancing quickly, but when it came to blacksmithing, he was blessed by the heavens. If he became a divine blacksmith and a titled Dolor, he could easily proceed to become a full-word battle armor master as well. However, he had to consider if this was what he truly wanted. With this sudden choice thrust upon him, he didn't know what to do. Zhenhua smiled. Don't worry about it too much. I didn't know what to do back when I was your age too. Just pick whatever route you think is best for you. And even if you choose to cultivate with your own efforts, you still have a good chance of becoming a divine blacksmith. Consider your options carefully, and when you make your decision, make sure you do so with the resolve to see it through to the end with no regrets. There are countless treasures in this world, but there are none that can cure regret. Thank you, Uncle Master. The two stepped through the spatial doorway and entered the sealed space. It was enormous, utterly different from that of the Spirit Soul Tower. Truly a gigantic warehouse. Countless doors lined the perimeter and stood all around, leading to unknown spaces. With a wave of his hand, Junhua brought Tang Wulin to the center of the space. Jarring was the brisk, instantaneous movement for Tang Wulin. Junhua placed a palm upon a door and entered with a gentle push. Inside was a large hall brimming with energy. A barrier created an arena in the middle of the hall, and a man in his 20s waited in the center. The man bowed when he caught sight of Junhua. President. Junhua cracked a slight smile. Prepare to begin. Wulin, let me introduce you. This is one of our association's guardians, Xie Yinling. Please take care of each other. Hello, I'm Tang Wulin. Although Xie Yinling couldn't be called handsome, he had a refreshing aura to him, and examined Tang Wulin with curious eyes. What sort of background does this kid have that the president would recommend him to have a match with me? Junhua withheld from him details about Tang Wulin. All he let slip from his lips was that he had found a good opponent him. Xie Yinling had never expected his opponent would be just a kid. I'm Xie Yinling. Please advise me. Without another word, Xie Yinling retreated a few steps. He extended his right hand and gestured for Tang Wulin to make his move. Despite his youth, Tang Wulin had plenty of battle experience. He took a few paces forward to face Xie Yinling in a battle stance. 2 yellow and 2 purple soul rings rose from beneath Xie Yinling. Just as Tang Wulin had requested, Junhua found him an opponent stronger than him. Xie Yinling was 20 years old this year, and a rank 43 soul ancestor. As Tang Wulin strode forward, 3 purple soul rings rose past his feet. The sight startled Xie Yinling. Begin, Junhua declared. In a split second, Tang Wulin jumped into action. Rather than summoning his blue-silver grass, he stomped on the ground and shot forward like a cannonball. He didn't want to waste any more time. Xie Yinling took a step back. His lungs swelled with air as he let out a piercing bird screech. A pair of wings unfurled from his back and a green aura spread throughout his body as he ascended into the air. His martial soul is a flying type. It's the eagle. Tang Wulin instantly judged. As a student of Shrek Academy, he could identify a martial soul at ease. Tang Wulin leaped after him. Unfortunately, he only reached 8 meters into the air while Xie Yinling hovered at a height of 10. Seeing that, Xie Yinling relaxed his guard a bit, confident in his ability to take the win. The moment Tang Wulin's 3 purple soul rings had materialized, apprehension chewed at the edges of his calm. But as soon as he was up in the air, his domain, his doubts had been extinguished. Especially when Tang Wulin could not reach him in a leap. When facing a flying soul master, one of the greatest mistakes a soul master who couldn't fly could make was jumping into the air to engage. At that point, they were practically sitting ducks. Flying soul masters boasted exceptional speed in the air. That said, Xie Yinling's confident smile froze in the next instant. Shooting a golden vine at the ground, Tang Wulin bounced upward using it as a spring. His sudden acceleration brought him in front of Xie Yinling in a flash. Not good. Xie Yinling was a bit slow to react. He pushed his hands forward as soon as he snapped free of surprise, stopping his ascent. His wings took on a sharp metallic shine as he brandished them and used eagle wing slash. The wings came slicing down on Tang Wulin's shoulder. At the same time, Xie Yinling circulated his soul power within his body to keep him afloat in the air. Eagle wing slash was his second soul skill. Yet, he didn't dare underestimate Tang Wulin, his third soul ring lighting up as a result. His third soul skill was linked with his fourth, and eclipsed soul skills of the same level in aerial combat. As such, he was convinced after blocking Tang Wulin's charge victory would swiftly follow. However, his plans were dashed in an instant. Tang Wulin scrunched up his body in midair as the wings bore down on him, hands shooting out to deflect the attack. He stared Xie Yinling straight in the eye, his irises flashing purple. Blue-silver grass sprang out of the ground and curled around Xie Yinling like an iron chain. With his opponent restrained, Tang Wulin whipped out his right fist for a powerful knockout punch. Although Xie Yinling was restrained, his arms were still mobile, extended in front of him in an effort to meet Tang Wulin's attack. Unable to use his third soul skill in his current position, he had no choice but to divert Tang Wulin first. Tang Wulin didn't withdraw his fist as those two arms chopped down. His fist continued its trajectory, swift and brisk, easily evading Xie Yinling's parry. In that hairbreadth of a moment, golden scales glimmered, popping into existence on his arm. Xie Yinling was stunned at the sight of the transformation. The golden claw reached his chest in an instant. "I'm finished." His mind went blank. But rather than the scalding pain of claw tearing through flesh, he felt a more subtle sensation. The claw lightly bumped him and disrupted his internal soul power circulation. Then Tang Wulin grabbed the blue-silver grass binding him and yanked, throwing him against the ground like a rag doll, the earth crackling beneath him upon impact. Tang Wulin landed next to Xie Yinling and released him from his restraints, then took 2 steps back. "Excuse me." Xie Yinling was speechless. "I didn't even get a chance to fight." He was frustrated by how helpless he had been throughout the entire battle. He had only been able to use one soul skill before losing, the battle having ended too quickly. It pained him to swallow the bitter pill of reality. He had lost. Admitting it wasn't easy, especially since he hadn't been able to work out Tang Wulin's martial soul. Zhenhua had stood by, watching from a distance with cold detachment. Even for him, the battle had ended too quickly. A few moves and it was settled. Tang Wulin hadn't wasted any strength, each move wrapped tightly in a blanket of precision and consideration. Xie Yinling thought he hadn't had a chance to show off his true strength, but in Zhenhua's eyes, it was Tang Wulin who had been reserved. Are all students from Shrek Academy this strong? He had thought that with a 1-ring difference, Tang Wulin would have struggled a bit. He was jolted out of his thoughts by the sound of Tang Wulin's voice, the young man approaching him with steady steps. "Thank you for helping me, Uncle Master." "Amen. Let's go then." Zhenhua patted Tang Wulin's shoulder. Tang Wulin dropped one final glance at Xie Yinling and a curt nod before following Zhenhua out. Meanwhile, Xie Yinling still refused to accept the outcome of the match. However, as one of the Blacksmiths Association's guardians, it would be too impudent to request a rematch in front of the president. If he knew Tang Wulin was the class president of Shrek Academy's first grade, his attitude would have been far different. "Wulin, I never would have thought you would be so strong." "Not bad. Since this is the case, I don't recommend you take me up on my offer. You're still young. You can just wait until you're 20 before you decide. And at that time, if you still don't have 5 rings, then I would suggest the route I presented to you. Once you're boosted to 6 rings, you can go the rest of the way with your own efforts. Your soul power is very strong, but it's impossible to heavenly refine without becoming a titled Dolor," Zhenhua said. "Understood." Before Tang Wulin left, Zhenhua handed him a card containing 1 million federal credits. It was enough for the rest of his trip. Zhenhua also threw a storage ring into the mix, one much better than his previous few. The storage space was larger with many compartments for easy organization. In Zhenhua's own words, this was a gift, and it contained everything that he exchanged the cloud gold hammers for. Tang Wulin peeked inside the ring. Despite not containing money, there were 18 different types of valuable metals stored within. 12 of them he had only heard of but had never seen before. There were also over a dozen bottles of the alloy forging catalyst refined by Zhenhua. Zhenhua didn't make a fuss about the gift, and neither did Tang Wulin. He didn't see Tang Wulin out, but he did direct him to use the back door. Tang Wulin's performance had been too outrageous. Everyone was still talking about him. Tang Wulin would draw too much attention if he left through the front, especially if he was escorted by the president himself. After Tang Wulin stepped out through the back, as he was about to call a taxi, he paused at the sight of Wu Zhongkong. "Teacher Wu," he greeted. Wu Zhongkong's expression remained icy, not a hint of surprise. I knew you would be here. Tang Wulin rushed to his side. And then, after thinking it over, he threw the hand with the ring behind him. I got this ring after I left campus. You can't say I'm cheating. Wu Zhongkong eyed him. From now on, I will be following you closely until the end of the exam. Just do whatever you have to without minding me. Tang Wulin was taken aback. Aren't you supposed to be watching from the shadows? Could it be that? Wu Zhongkong furrowed his brow. An evil soul master appeared. The terrorist attack you foiled was arranged by that same person. I already notified the academy, and they've dispatched more teachers to come protect the examinees. I will be watching over you personally. Due to the limited number of teachers, however, you will need to act as a group. He pointed to the side as he spoke. Tang Wulin tracked his gesture to see familiar faces. Ji Yuyu, Yi Xinglan, Xu Xiaoyuan, Xu Lishi, and Xie Xie stood a distance away, smiling brightly. Although they missed Tang Wulin's train, they boarded the very next one with Wu Zhongkong, arriving at Heavendoe City as a group. They were following the same route after all. When Wu Zhongkong had lost Tang Wulin, the gears in his head spun in overdrive. Penniless yet possessing such high blacksmithing skills, Tang Wulin was most likely to be found near the local blacksmiths association. Hi guys. Tang Wulin beamed. His mood soared. After visiting the blacksmiths association, he no longer felt guilty over the security captain's death. Xu Lishi took the initiative to walk over. He sized Tang Wulin up, then sniffed. Astonishment filled his face. Did you eat something good? Tang Wulin's jaw dropped. How did you know? Xu Lishi gave a toothy grin. Us food types have an amazing sense of smell. Come on. Hurry up and tell me what you ate. What's the use in telling you? It's not like you can eat it now. I don't want to make you hungry. Wu Zhongkong interjected. Have you won a match yet? Tang Wulin nodded. All right. None of the others have finished yet. You guys decide on your plan. Don't mind me. I'll just follow along quietly. Tang Wulin understood that Wu Zhongkong was there to protect them, and a soft warmth brushed his heart. He turned to his friends and smiled. It looks like we're together again. Where do you guys want to go to find some opponents? Let's head to the Spirit Pagoda, Ji Yuyu said, her eyes shining as she looked at him. The Spirit Pagoda? Tang Wulin's smile flashed even brighter. That's right. There's tons of soul masters over there. Ji Yuyu has a high status there too, so it should be easy to find some opponents. Yeah. Let's go. Heavendoe City was bustling with activity. It didn't take them long to find a taxi, and soon they were on their way to the local Spirit Pagoda. In the car, Tang Wulin let Wu Zhongkong view the video of his fight with Xie Yinling and sent him the file soon after. Wu Zhongkong did not comment on the battle. With that, Tang Wulin had cleared his first city. Heavendoe City's local Spirit Pagoda was only second to the headquarters in Shrek City. It towered over the surrounding buildings, breathtaking in its height. Currently, Xu Lishi and Tang Wulin were walking together. I can feel that your blood essence is thicker than before. It's definitely because of whatever you ate. I can't believe you won't tell me. Xu Lishi cried. Aren't we brothers? Fine. I give. It was ruby shrimp. Although the 1,000-year land dragon tendon was potent as well, it couldn't compare with the ruby shrimp. At the sound of those words, Xu Lishi trembled. Ruby shrimp? Where did you get it? Tang Wulin looked at him suspiciously. Someone else gave it to me. Do you know of it? It wasn't until it was right in front of me that I even heard of its name. It's the ruby shrimp from the blood trench, right? Tang Wulin nodded. Xu Lishi was dumbstruck. After gathering himself for a few moments, he spoke. Are you sure that's what you had? All soul devices malfunction near the blood trench because of its bizarre magnetic field. The trench is also several kilometers deep and teeming with soul beasts. It's known as one of the world's forbidden areas. That ruby shrimp you said you had are only found in the blood trench. Even forward battle armor masters have trouble retrieving them. Are you sure that's what you ate? Tang Wulin had guessed that the ruby shrimp was precious, but he had never expected it to be to this degree. It was a delicacy that could only be obtained by forward battle armor masters. It was no wonder that even a divine blacksmith like Shenhua regarded it as precious. Who gave it to you? I want to try it too. Shu Lishi sulked. I don't know his name, Tang Wulin said. He's my uncle master's friend. There aren't any left anyway. Or do you want me to puke it out for you to try? I think there's still a bit left in my stomach. You disgusting. Yi Xinglan, who was walking ahead of him, shot a dirty look in his direction. Shu Lishi went silent with gloom. He was depressed that he missed out on such an experience. They soon reached the spirit pagoda, their chatter culled to an attentive quiet. Wu Zhongkong followed behind them without a word, simply watching them with his cold eyes. Tang Wulin glanced at his teacher. The thought of Wu Zhongkong's lover buried in the cemetery of Heaven-Do City lingered in his mind. Wu Zhongkong returned his glance with a sharp look. Then his eyes drifted elsewhere. Gu flashed her ID and was immediately admitted inside. She led them up to a conference room on the 3rd floor. Before long, a middle-aged man entered the room. Hello, Miss Gu, the middle-aged man said. Hello. Gu stood and nodded to him. The man made an awkward face. I've passed on your request to the rest of the staff, but it would break too many rules. We're an organization that serves soul masters after all. We can't just ask visitors to have a match. It would be too troubling for them. We have no duty to do that either. Gu furrowed her brow. Is there any other way? The man shook his head. I asked the higher-ups, but I'm afraid it's impossible. The Heavenly Phoenix Dolor called and said you had to handle this yourself. We aren't to lend you any help. Gu went silent for a moment. Teacher knows about this. The man smiled meekly but remained silent. Okay. Gu nodded, then turned to her companions. Let's go. They followed Gu out in silence, Tang Wulin jogging to her side in the process. It's fine. We'll just find some other way. And if we can't, we can just go to the Blacksmiths Association. I'm sure my Uncle Master will help us. Gu shook her head. That would be too inconvenient and take too much time. I have a plan. Yi Xinglan pursed her lips for you saying. The two shared a glance, eyes lighting up in mutual understanding. Tang Wulin felt a chill travel down his spine, apprehension creeping up on him. Sun Ruinyu left the spirit pagoda in high spirits. His body felt light with his new and suitable spirit soul. At 35 years old, he possessed 2 spirit souls before this one. Due to his average martial soul, his spiritual power wasn't particularly strong, and he had only been able to sustain 2 spirit souls that allowed him 4 soul rings. After devoting blood and sweat to cultivating, he finally reached rank 50. He knew that he had no hopes of ever reaching 7 rings, but he still wished to obtain a spirit soul capable of taking him that far. At the very least, he would be acknowledged within the world of soul masters. He saved up money by living frugally until he scraped enough to visit the spirit pagoda. Luck smiled upon him. He obtained a good purple spirit soul and fused with it, becoming stronger than before. From then on, he was a genuine 5-ring soul king. Not to mention, he could now boast a 1,000-year soul ring. Soul kings were quite respected among soul masters. Furthermore, he was a mecha pilot. With a strong spirit soul to fuse with his mecha, he now had the strength to reach the rank of lieutenant colonel and command a squadron of 30 mechas. Sun Ruinyu was filled with excitement as he thought about his future. His hard work was finally paying off. Even if he couldn't become a soul sage, becoming a soul emperor was not beyond reach. Once he stepped into that level, he would have the qualifications to be promoted to a colonel. He would be a decently high-ranking officer in the military at that time. Then he could settle down with a good wife. As he entertained these thoughts, a few figures snuck up in front of him, dodging his peripheral vision. This mountain is mine. These trees were planted by me. If you want to pass, you must pay the mountain toll. Sun Ruinyu could not believe his eyes. For strangers stood in a line in front of him, forming a makeshift barrier between him and the path. Confused, he took some time to scan the area, confirming he had just exited the Spirit Pagoda. What mountain are they talking about? What trees? When he shifted his attention back to his obstructors, he was taken aback by their youthful appearances. The last vestiges of baby fat clung to their cheeks, skin soft and tender. It was obvious they were no more than teenagers. He could even pick out a young fatty crouching and another teen covering his face. What are you kids doing? You shouldn't be playing jokes around the Spirit Pagoda. Hurry up and go home. Sun Ruinyu shouted with the imposing airs of a military officer. Guu had been the first one to recite their mugging play. The instant Tang Wulin had heard it, he turned his back to them and face-palmed. Similarly, Shu Lishi had crouched down into a ball immediately, turning his back to them as did his best to fight back his laughter. Meanwhile, Wu Zhongkong stood far off in the distance, his figure barely visible. Indeed, this was Guu's plan. It was simple. All they needed to do was fight a soul master stronger than them, and there were plenty of people who fit the bill at the Spirit Pagoda. So, they would threaten the people that came out of the Spirit Pagoda and force them into a fight. After beating their opponent, they would hightail it out of there. The only issue was finding someone stronger than them. As for their mountain bandit charade, it just piqued her fancy. Yi Xinglan, Xie Xie, and Xu Xiaoyan had shouted the last 3 verses in that order. Xie Xie and Xu Xiaoyan grinned with excitement. What now? Yi Xinglan asked Guu. We get started, Guu said as soul rings rose from beneath her. After spending a lot of time with Guu, Yi Xinglan had found her quite compatible, and the sentiment was reciprocated. She charged forward the moment she saw Guu's soul rings, the Star God sword manifesting in her hands as she ran. She slashed the air, shooting out a sword beam towards Sun Ruinyu. The sudden attack startled Sun Ruinyu. The military experience engraved in him took hold and he subconsciously retreated a step. He summoned his martial soul. A thin mist spread from his body, condensing into a liquid shield and deflecting the sword beam in the nick of time. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.